Spoiler warning for Honkai Star Rail up to the end of version 2.5 of Xianzhou's Trailblaze Continuance questline. If you have not reached that point in the story and do not wish to be spoiled, click off and return once you have seen everything that will be covered in this video. Disclaimer, the footage I use for story content in this video was borrowed from other sources. Here's the list of channels and content creators I borrowed footage from. Also, if I get anything wrong, let me know in the comments below.
Come feast your eyes! Rise, Phoenix!
We're doing 2 for 1, focusing on the strongest pair of besties on the Xianzhou. Let's start with Guinaifen. Her first appearance in game was during the Ethereum Wars event in 1.4. She's a pretty popular live streamer on the Lofu, though she's quick to clarify when the Trailblazer first meets her that she's not a native. Her real name is Guinevere, and Guinaifen was the Xianzhou name Sushang came up with. The name Guinevere originates from Arthurian legend, being the name of King Arthur's wife. Guinevere means white phantom, and this may be a bit of a stretch, but this could be the reason why she has a prominent role in the Ghostly Grove event? Yeah, I'm definitely doing the stretch of the century here. As for her Xianzhou name, I think I'll let her explain what it means.
My name is Guinaifen. Gui means wood, Nai means to exist, and Fen means fragrant. Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
Funnily enough, the exact spelling of her name is the same as the early Chinese translation for the name Guinevere. But what led Guinaifen to living aboard the Lofu? Well, underneath the bright smile and energetic demeanor is a girl who has lost a lot in her life. Her character story details her past, giving context to the corresponding lyrics she's singing on a live stream to Xianzhou folk music. Guinaifen's homeworld was Count Camelot. She was one of over a dozen siblings that belonged to a very distinguished family. They all lived in a prestigious mansion which provided them peace and happiness. As described by the first line of her second character story, the mansion and the bustling streets around it were her entire world when she was a kid. But everything changed when the Antimatter Legion attacked. No, I'm not just memeing, that's legit a line in the text which I found way funnier than I should have, to be real. Her father died trying to fight off the Legion. Guinevere and her siblings got on a space shuttle while her mother stayed behind and led soldiers to keep fighting the forces of destruction. As they flew out of orbit, Guinevere saw how flames and corpses flooded the streets of the planet she once called home. And just like that, Count Camelot was no more. A good portion of this part of her character story describes Guinaifen's father and her relationship with him. One thing that stood out to me were rumors of him taking part in shady or suspicious acts. I decided to look into the father of the Guinevere in Arthurian legend. Guinevere's father, Leo de Grance, was the king of Camelot, not to be confused with King Arthur's Camelot. At one point, Leo's kingdom is invaded by the Anglo-Saxons, an antagonistic force in Arthurian legend. Camelot was rescued by a young King Arthur and his allies, which led to Arthur meeting his eventual wife Guinevere for the first time. But in HSR's retelling, there was no King Arthur to save the day, or at least not the noble leader he's portrayed as in other media, as one of the rumors Guinevere hears of her father is how he made the king his puppet. The Arthur in HSR's Count Camelot was nothing more than a mouthpiece for Leo de Grance. While on the topic of Guinaifen's family, there's a voice line where she mentions one of her siblings who's also living on the Xianzhou.
I've got more than a dozen siblings. One of them is my older brother. He's also living on the Xianzhou. His name is Long Shirla, but he seems to prefer being called Lancelot.
Hey guys, Editing Shiro here to let you know that for the remainder of this video, I mispronounced the name Lang Shala as Lang Shile. I didn't realize it until after I finished recording and went to get Guinaifen's voice clip. That's on me. I should have checked before I read off the script. Lang Shile, like Guinaifen, is the early transcription of the name Lancelot. In Arthurian legend, Lancelot is one of the Knights of the Round Table. The Round Table used to belong to Camelot under the order of Leo de Grance, but was transferred to Camelot and put under Arthur's command after the young king saved Camelot from the Saxons. In the original Arthurian legend and many reimaginings of it, Lancelot and Guinevere have an affair, but HSR isn't the first time the two were reinterpreted as siblings instead. The first instance I could find of these two being siblings was Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Yes, another mobile game did this too. Also, we do see Lang Xiao post comments during the Ghostly Grove event under the username Lang Lang, and here we see him trying to leech a following off his sister's success. Okay, so fuck this guy. Anyway, back to Guinaifen's backstory. After the destruction of her home planet, she and her siblings would take refuge on Humbert Sigma, a barren planet with an atmosphere that was barely livable. It's directly stated no one would be living on this planet if it weren't for the IPC, who discovered valuable ores and forced people to live there to mine them. Yep, Guinaifen is yet another victim of the IPC. Don't worry, little Gwynny, you're not alone. We have 3 other victims you can talk to. On the poverty-stricken planet, teenage Guinevere had no issue getting along with everyone. Guinevere did not care about people's background. No matter what kind of families people are from, they were equally at risk of perishing before the arrival of tomorrow on this planet. Even in the worst case scenario, she's a naturally friendly person. With such a bubbly personality, it's no wonder she'd find success as a streamer. As time went on, Guinevere and her siblings began to starve. They could barely afford to pay taxes to the IPC, being left with not a cent to pay for food. Her elder brothers would become space pirates to make enough money to feed their little siblings. However, all the siblings would eventually get caught by the IPC and be handed over to the Cloud Knights of the Xian show. Funnily enough, when her family got caught, she breathed a sigh of relief. She thought that the Cloud Knights would definitely allow her entire family to die together in dignity. After the miserable life she and her siblings had gone through, she had fully accepted death. But thankfully, the Cloud Knights didn't execute them as their punishment. According to the lyrics at the end of this character story, the Knights pardoned the brothers' crimes and allowed the younger siblings to attend school on the Xian show. Lancelot and Guinevere chose to live on the Laofu and would take on the names Langshao and Guinaifen respectively. Now living on the Laofu, Guinaifen would become a street performer to make ends meet. She learned how to juggle from her brothers and would perform juggling acts at the Exalting Sanctum. She would also go on to incorporate flashy and bizarre acts live in front of a crowd, ranging from fire breathing to smashing slabs with her chest to swallowing swords. And as we know, the next step was performing her acts and more in live streams broadcasted to an even bigger audience. Guinaifen's teenage years were a dark time for her. She and her siblings had hit rock bottom and had nowhere to turn to but piracy. But after you hit rock bottom, you can only go up. Her life would improve tenfold thanks to the generosity of the Xian show, with her and her siblings finding a home as outworlders aboard their fleet. The Guinaifen we know now is a successful young lady who can genuinely smile and enjoy life to the fullest. It's actually during one of Guinaifen's live performances that she met her best friend Sushang for the first time. Sushang is originally from the Yaoqing, and she came to the Laofu for military training. I neglected to mention this, but Guinaifen would carry a ton of explosive material on her, which the Cloud Knights deemed as dangerous to public safety. However, realizing that Guinaifen was only doing what she did out of a desperate attempt to make money, Sushang sympathized with her. That sympathy inspired Guinaifen to turn a new leaf, and the two would become close friends thereafter. By the way, the response of Sushang's parents when they hear how she became friends with Guinaifen is supremely funny. You guys gotta hear this. "Your collusion with hoodlums has worried and aggravated us. Straightforward, trustworthy, and knowledgeable people are good and should make good friends, but expedient, soft, and flattering people are no good and should be avoided." They told her Guinaifen was a bad influence, yet Sushang hangs out with her anyway against her parents' wishes. What a girl boss. I think that's as good a place as any to move the focus of this analysis from Guinaifen to Sushang. Sushang is a rookie Cloud Knight with the hopes to become a legendary figure on par with people like the High Cloud Quintet. She's very much a bright-eyed youth who's always at the ready to help people in need and generally do good. Her dedication to studying swordsmanship has resulted in her having little book smarts and having a hard time reading or writing. When you check her daily messages, her status is as follows: "What illness makes you sleepy as soon as you read a book?" She's pretty illiterate, to say the least. Other examples include her parents outright pointing it out in their letter to her in her 4th character story. "PPS, you made a lot of writing errors, Sushang. Please read more books while you're off duty." And it's "look after myself," not "looking after myself." For context, that last part is a reference to her 3rd character story where Sushang wrote to her parents that she can looking after myself now. And one of her idle animations has her struggling to read a poem correctly. Fun fact, that poem is the same one Jing Yuan recites in one of his overworld animations. Sushang may not be book smart, but she clearly has her heart in the right place and is trying her best as a Cloud Knight. She's a spring chicken who's eager to grow and develop her skills. Oh shit, that's right, I gotta talk about birds!
Hey, you guys are watching Bird Up.
Of all types of birds, the one most portrayed alongside Sushang are chickens. The rooster is the 10th animal of the Chinese zodiac. Roosters and all other types of chickens serve as symbols of good fortune and prosperity. The year of the chicken is a year personified by devotedness and punctuality. Fittingly enough, you could definitely describe Sushang as devoted to the cause and brand of justice of the Cloud Knights. I compared her to a spring chicken, but that's really what she is. Sushang has a rather simplistic, almost naive view of the world. She still has a good bit of growing up and maturing to do. Her parents advised her to not focus so much on grandiose ambitions of fame or fortune, seeing as Xianzhou people can live on pretty much forever. She should spend her extremely long life focused on more practical goals to achieve. Sushang is young and inexperienced, but she wears her heart on her sleeve and seeks to improve to be an even better Cloud Knight. This inexperience can even be tied to the meaning behind her name. Su can be read simply as plain, and Shang means clothing. Her surname, Li, is a common surname in China that means plum. It's the Chinese equivalent of surnames like Dou or Tanaka, basically. Sushang is relatively plain and ordinary compared to everyone else in the Laofu. She isn't blessed by the Eon of the Hunt, has an insane level of talent, has some unique skill or special circumstance, etc. She's kind of like an underdog in her efforts to become a legendary figure in Xianzhou history. Her being the most normal person in this Xianzhou cast is what makes her charming. Every great comedy has a straight man, a relatively normal individual in comparison to the wackiness of the characters surrounding them. On top of that, Sushang is an XP character in Starry. She's the counterpart of the HI3 character by the same name. In the universe of HI3, Li Sushang was one of the protagonists of the Seven Swords visual novel. She wasn't the most talented swordswoman, but under the tutelage of Ling Xuang, a disciple of Fu Ha, she vastly improved in her usage of Tai Xuan. In HSR, Sushang's ultimate is titled Shape of Tai Shu, in reference to her sword style invented by Fu Ha in HI3. The design of the giant chicken Sushang summons during her ultimate also originates from HI3, where it was a piece of furniture that could be crafted called the Jingwei plushie. Neat detail. HSR Sushang, just like her HI3 counterpart, may not have the most natural talent in swordsmanship, but she is, without a doubt, a hard worker and is improving her swordplay every day. I hope that in the future, we'll see her skills flourish and watch her grow into the legendary Cloud Knight she dreams of being. Thank you for watching this video. This is one part of a series of analysis videos on the Xianzhou's cast of characters. If you want to see me analyze another character from the Xianzhou, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, like this video to let me know if I did a good job. As a smaller content creator on the platform, engaging with my videos really, truly helps me out. Thank you once again for watching, have a great rest of your day, and until we meet again, take care.